not married. That's what the dinner was supposed to be for. I love you. I love you too.
Bette and Tina are finally back, baby. And this week in episode 309, Quiet Before the Storm, we got something we'd actually been waiting 20 years for, Showtime, not 15. So Bette and Tina were finally back in this week's episode, and we're going to be going over absolutely everything about 309, the penultimate episode, because next week is the final episode of season 3, and who knows, it could be the last episode of the L Word forever. I'm going to talk about that at the very end, as I did get tipped off to some information yesterday regarding another season of the show and what is happening kind of behind the scenes at HQ. So we're going to get into all of that and more. Don't forget, I have new merch in my store, Bette and Tina and Dani and Gigi. The link is below, and there's also a discount code. So let's get into the episode. So I'm going to get real honest here. We're getting to the last 2 episodes. I could not care less. No interest whatsoever in Dani and Dre. I really don't like the whole thing they're doing, like trying to make Dre happen. And I think Sophie was pretty good in this episode, and I did like the, you know, they were focusing on the show and there was some little meta moments, but I don't really want to, there's nothing to discuss really. Like it didn't really do anything for me. So we're just really today going to be talking about Shane, Alice, and of course Bette and Tina, because Micah and Maribel weren't in this episode. And although like I did like the Rosie, Misty and Finley stuff, that was their last episode and there's not really a huge amount to say. I did like Finley's Tampa shirt because, you know, lived in Tampa for 12 years. That was about the biggest thing I took away from that. So let's get into Shane and Tess. Not huge amounts of screen time here, which is understandable because this episode was directed by Kate Manning. I think this angle with Tess is really odd. And are we going to have like another intervention in the finale next week for Tess? I mean, they always go this route with alcohol and like substance abuse, that they act as though it like completely changes this person's personality. They're messy and this and that, and it's not really like that. Like if you are this type of way, you're gonna be that type of way just with alcohol. So I don't know, I also think that we got confirmation of the sheer stupidity of Tessa's plan to open this other bar. Like at least they hadn't really said it was going to be a bar up until now, and we could like explain it away in our heads. I do think that they've cut lots out of this episode, because Sherry Jaffe also is supposed to be in this multi-arc episode. There's only 1 episode left and she hasn't been in the season. I mean, there's not really much to say about Shane. I just feel like they really don't even know what to do with Shane. They had that, you know, thing with Ivy in the beginning, but, you know, Kaylani was only in a few episodes. So I think now they're honestly just like running down that clock until the finale, where they can at least put Shane in like wedding issues and positions. If this show comes back, like they really need to figure something out with Shane, because she has no storyline. She has nothing to do. Like the salon thing just like randomly popped up. I know they did pad it like a teeny bit in the very beginning of the season with the Kaylani stuff, but it just really seems to have come out of nowhere, and I wish that we knew something that was going on with Shane, because honestly, what has happened to her this season? Like she slept with Kaylani 8 episodes ago and broke up with Tess. That's pretty much it. So Alice, obviously the super exciting news that we saw Tasha at the end of this episode. I was really excited for Tasha to come back and see Rose Rollins on the show again. I did like how they did it as well with the light. Like it was like blinding. You could just see like the outline. And then obviously like the light moved away and we could see that it was Tasha.
Hi, Alice. Oh my God.
Obviously, I love the Mr. Piddles thing with Alice and showing people like 200 pictures of your cat, like guilty as charged. But I don't understand for the life of me why the fuck Alice is like ostracized from everyone else. Apart from the episode 6, the musical, the ayahuasca episode, like what has Alice done? Like she didn't even see Bette, Tina and Shane. There is I can think like right off the top of my head without really like deep thinking about scenes in an episode. I can think of me saying this in at least 3 other reviews. Like, why is Alice by herself? Why hasn't Alice had any interaction with anyone? Like, in the Halloween episode, she didn't interact with anyone apart from a guest star. And if they were setting something up there, cool. But like, Joey Lauren Adams was in 2 episodes and then was like, bye. So I just don't know what they're doing here either. I mean, maybe Tasha now coming back, and I'm hoping next episode is just fucking focused on the OGs. But like, what is going on? I'm just exhausted saying the same thing. Like, why? The whole thing of the L word is like the friendships and the relationships. And you have already built for you Shane and Alice from the original show. And if that's not good enough, that relationship between those 2 characters is so solid and so good, and you have an audience that's in love with them, you also fucking have those actors that are best friends in real life and have not only great like acting and chemistry and stuff, it's real. Like, it's real. You don't have to do anything. So Jesus Christ, just put them in a scene together. Oh my God. The one thing I will say is that I did like that they dialed it back to the Daryl Brewer thing, and I'm like, oh, somebody did watch the OG, because I mean, I think it's apparent that some of the people writing haven't.
Very, very special edition of Alice and Mr Piddles. I was invited to a party over the weekend. I met a fabulous, super nice, flaming homosexual man, Daryl Brewer. He's a big sports somebody, I don't know, plays a little b-ball.
I don't like gay people, so I let it be known.
All right, I'm letting it be known, Mr. Brewer, that you're a homo.
This definitely, they went back and took something that we were already familiar with, which makes sense because you have the entire original show.
Well, originally, I didn't videotape him with the intention of outing him. It was sort of a
It's hard to
personal...
believe that you weren't seeking notoriety by filming him.
A lot of other shows would just make something up in the character's past, but you know, we were there, we lived it.
But it's a violation of his privacy if you're going to videotape and then have it put up on the World Wide Web.
No, I didn't think it would get so big.
You're an internet journalist and you didn't realize the power of the net.
And I do think that was like a nice and also believable callback, because it's something that happened like way in the past of Alice's career. And I mean, we see that all the time where something will happen and somebody, you know, is put into the headlines or whatever, and then people go back and look and find all the problematic things in the past. And I know I've seen tons of actors and even actually directors, writers that have literally had their careers taken away, or they've been taken from a show or something. There was a guy I remember last season on The Flash, and people found like all these like super racist and homophobic and sexist tweets, and he had just signed like a big contract for multiple seasons, and they ended up like letting him go over all this stuff. So I do think like it also made sense about like the way Sophie was saying, oh, and you could see like she was on Twitter and stuff, because you know that's usually how it happens. There was also a few little meta moments I felt throughout that as well. So the Alice stuff, I did really enjoy it. I liked the storyline where like Alice, you know, is getting cancelled, Tasha coming back, all that was really good. I do like this Alice and Sophie thing. Like that's when Sophie is at her best for me, when she's at work and with Alice. And then I wish they would have Finley back at Alice's show. I don't know why they're doing this. The only thing that I just have issues with is just this constant like separation of Alice. The whole reason I am here to watch the show, to talk about the show, is literally Alice, Shane, Bette, Tina. I mean, I was here for Dani and Gigi too, but that doesn't exist anymore. But that friendship group, like, I mean, there's lots of other reasons I watch the show. If somebody said, what is the one reason? That's it. Like, that is what I want to see on the show. Like, obviously I like Bette and Tina and all that stuff too, but I would prefer the 4 OG scenes, like from episode 2. That's what I want to watch the entire episode.
Is this really happening? It's happening. We're taking it slow. We're gonna keep on talking. We have a lot to figure out. We do. We have a lot of things to figure out. It's like no time has passed. Skipping a beat.
Okay, you've done your penance of the other characters. Let's talk about the Bette and Tina stuff. So, as I always say, I try and like not really delve too much into like Twitter and stuff when the episode is airing, because I don't want to like take on other people's thoughts. Most people who are watching this, especially straight away, are very involved with the show and like love the show, have seen every episode a million times. But because we're all kind of conditioned and we're also reading the same stuff on Twitter and in interviews, and it's the same kind of talking heads all the time. Like, you know, there's Evelyn, Amanda, Jess, Chris and Jess, Reese, me, to Ellen back. It's this, you know, the same kind of 10 people and their thoughts, opinions, and then like people on Twitter and all that stuff. So obviously we're all being dumped the same information. So a lot of the time, like, it's going to be regurgitated out. Like, people will have the same thoughts, if that makes sense. And I did hear from like a lot of people, like my Discord link is below if you want to join the Discord. And I also have a Facebook group. They're both super safe spaces. Come chat about anything you want. They're really busy and always talking about the episodes and the show. And I also obviously have friends that watch the show, and most seem to agree that they thought there would be like a lot more Bette and Tina. I have always been cautiously optimistic just because honestly, like, a lot of the stuff that I know that's gone on behind the scenes, I have always been thinking we're not going to get like an abundance of them. I don't understand why you give us a 46-minute episode, like, when I know for a fact there's stuff on the cutting room floor. It makes no sense to me, especially because this could be like it, and I will talk about that at the end, about, you know, the possibility of another season. But anyway, the Bette and Tina stuff, obviously I loved it. Obviously it was fucking adorable. I just want to watch that on repeat, like the rest. I'll have it playing in my brain on repeat for you know, a good like 50 years. I just loved it. I just look at this and I'm like, this is peak television. Like, these actors, they're just so fucking brilliant. And 20 years and I feel like you can really, maybe this is in my head, I feel like you can really feel just like the joy from the actors about finally being able to do and play these characters what they want.
Are you flirting with me? Maybe. I think you are flirting. Okay, can we get 2 number 3s with cheese and fries? Oh, yeah.
And I'm gonna hype up Jess here because Jess has an interview coming out next week with Marcia Lewis Ryan, who's the showrunner of The L Word, as you guys know. And Jess was asking my opinion on a few things last night, and I heard the interview, and you guys are gonna love it. There's some really good information in there that I know people are gonna like freak out about. So watch Jess's interview next week. It's gonna be really good, and this will make a bit more sense then. But just the way like things are constructed and the scene and stuff like that, as Jess has said before, I think she said this in our Eileen interview, the Bette and Tina and Bette stuff just feels different. It feels different to the episode, like what the rest of what's going on in that episode. So I just loved how good and pure and like just fucking lovely the scenes were. Like, there wasn't drama, there wasn't bullshit, and I really enjoyed it. And
I love you. I love you too. I want it on record that I asked you first. Okay.
even just like the little, like when they're standing outside with Shane and Angie says something like, you can't help who you fall in love with or something, and they both like look at each other like, yeah, we can't say shit, can we?
Totally took advantage of you. This is exactly why I don't tell you anything. You're all acting like fucking hypocrites. Like, you've never fallen in love with someone that you shouldn't? It's fucking bullshit. Okay.
And there's just so many great moments. Of course, like the whole proposal thing was fucking adorable too.
What if we got married? Throw a party for a friend. That's what the dinner was supposed to be for. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll count it as like a double proposal, and you kind of see Bette, like she's so evolved.
You did that. Do you like it? Yeah. I like it a lot. Can't I put it? But one could argue that ring is proof that I had the idea first. Okay. One could argue. But one wouldn't. No, one most certainly would not.
And I know this is like a really weird, like random little thing to zero in on, but I just look at Jennifer Beals and Laurel Holloman. It's like these two are, everybody else should be taking fucking notes. The 20 years they've been playing these characters, and they could totally like coast on just doing this great scene like as it's been written. They know they have the chemistry. Like, come on, like they know what they have. They know people are gonna flip out over it. But they are just so good. Like, if you look at other actors, even, I mean, any TV show, even on this TV show, little minute details like, okay, in the proposal scene, like they're eating. And in case you don't know, like most actors, when they're eating on like TV or film, they're having to do so many takes. So they're not actually like eating the food because, they're doing a take like 6 or 7 and more times. They're eating a burger every time. Like, that's a lot of fucking burgers. So this is kind of gross, but they have a spit bucket. So like a lot of the time when they yell cut, they'll just like spit the food out. So they're not swallowing it a lot of the time, and you can just see, like, you can tell a lot of the time that that's all they're doing, or they're like picking at their plate. But the way that they were like, you really could see that they were like, it felt as though they were trying to like pull something out of their teeth or something. Again, I know this is a weird thing to zero in on, but I just like was thinking, damn, they're fucking good. But there's so many things I loved about this scene.
What's coming? I want the love, so do away with the running. I've been high, I've been low. So when
I probably will go and do like tomorrow, like a more like the ones I did for episode 1 and 2 that's like Bette and Tina things you missed, because I know that there's stuff that I won't catch the first time, or there's other little, parallels to the OG show or even past episodes. So I definitely will do one of them. But loved what we got, loved everything. I just wish there was more. I did think we might get a smidgen more, and I did like that Shane was there and stuff, and the Angie professor thing. Oh my god, I cannot tell you how much I fucking hate it. Like, I absolutely fucking hate it so much.
that's her ex, Bella. Is that her ex or is that her professor?
And finally, somebody said, you shouldn't be dating your professor. I didn't think this previous to this episode, but the roommate obviously likes her. And I think they made that obvious in this episode. But Angie then goes to, I hated that so much, that then she's like, oh, you're not working here anymore. Great. But I do think that the kind of reaction to Shane was weird.
I trusted you to take care of yourself. I am taking care of myself. He belongs in jail. Okay, why didn't you tell us?
Why didn't you tell me?
Because I don't owe you anything. It's my fucking life.
Because we've always been shown that like Angie and Shane are like super close. So I did find that strange, and maybe it was just like in the moment and like heated or something. But I really would love to know what you guys think down below. I'm not going to talk about next week in the trailer in this video because I'm going to do the final trailer breakdown for season 3. So this is obviously going to go up and the trailer breakdown will go up really quick after it. So make sure you have your notifications on and you're subscribed to the channel, following me on social media. And I am also going to talk in the trailer breakdown about the possibility of another season, because I got a little tip off of that last night, and this video has gone on so long, so it will be in the trailer breakdown. Promise. Subscribe here, follow me on social media, and as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.